In this short video, I want to draw your attention to something rather unusual that happened as a result of an auction conducted by the US Treasury. And the Treasury, in one of its regular auctions, was selling $42 billion worth of 10-year Treasury notes. But what made this unusual was that the yield which emerged from that auction was the highest yield for these securities since 2007, almost 20 years ago. And the yield that emerged from the auction was 4.683%. Now, the Bloomberg analysts report that the high yield is attributed to perhaps inflation running above the Federal Reserve's target rate of 2%, swelling budget deficits, and overall these would be contributing to elevated long-dated yields. I might just mention here that at the time this is being recorded, the public debt level, the US government debt level, has exceeded $40 trillion. Bloomberg also goes on to say strong US growth, heavy fiscal spending, and macro pressures are expected to keep Treasury yields high. And they go on to say that some strategists are even predicting that 5% yield on the 10-year could potentially become a floor rather than a ceiling during 2027. Just to give some context here, for the fiscal year 26, net new Treasury debt issuance, because the US Treasury are issuing bonds all the time, what I mean by that is net borrowing required to continue to fund federal deficits, is projected to reach over $2 trillion. So let's return to this idea maybe of macro pressures. Now, with regard to such pressures, JP Morgan has said that bond sales from technology-related firms who are looking to finance AI, data centers, and so on, is going to exceed $500 billion during 2026, as the hyperscalers' appetite to deploy capital for AI shows no signs of abating despite growing investor fatigue. Given these very high numbers I've been talking about, $2 trillion for treasuries, $500 billion for AI-related bond issuance, plus of course plenty of other bonds being issued by corporations, one has to believe that it will be necessary for these issuers to continue to offer high yields in order to attract the necessary funding. If you find this kind of material interesting, please check out my YouTube channel, The Corcoran Codex. You can see here the URL, and many thanks for listening.